plans to stay on next year. Sir, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Melissa.
A lot of people laughed and didn't take her seriously when she made that very famous comment in the run-up to the election where she said, what am I going to do if I'm the head of the House Financial Services Committee? I'm going to do to you what you did to us, and it's going to be really painful. Well, now it looks like, based on the things that she's outlined already, she wasn't kidding. One of her biggest targets, she has said, is Deutsche Bank.
Yes, Maxine Waters has had a long-standing dislike of this president. She's wanted his tax returns. She wants to investigate all of his business practices before he was president. So I have no doubt that she'll go down that trail. What she has to be aware of is she needs a factual basis for the work that she does in order to have the support of her own members on that committee. So I would hope that she would temper her tone as she comes into the chair position in January.
Well, I mean, you're talking about her using the committee in order to get back at the president, but I think she hates Wall Street. I mean, if you look between the lines, so one of the changes that she's proposed is she wants to lump in the international financial institutions oversight of that group, which really, I mean, in my mind could mean anything, I mean, all foreign banks, the World Bank, I mean, it could be all kinds of things. She wants to lump it in with oversight of terrorism and the illicit finance subcommittee. And scrap monetary policy and trade subcommittee. So what is that? That means that she thinks, like the World Bank and foreign banks are basically international money launderers. What does that change mean to you?
Yeah, well, I serve on both the Monetary Policy and Trade Committee and the Illicit Finance and Terrorism Committee. I think she is mixing metaphors there. I'm sorry that we won't have a subcommittee that oversees the Fed and provides a constant review of our monetary policy. And trade is certainly a critically important issue in this particular administration. And we already do an excellent job in overseeing illicit finance and terrorism issues. And we must get an AML-BSA regulatory bill through the Congress next session. That should be the major work of that terror committee, is the Money Laundering and Bank Secrecy Act improvements that we need to make.
Well, I mean, basically, she did an interview with Axios, and she just really hit home that she wasn't kidding, and she's going to come after all of these institutions. Basically, I would ask you, how big of a threat do you think that is? Does she have a lot of support on the committee to do the things she wants to do, or no, you're there?
Well, I think she needs to have a factual case on why she wants to have a hearing related to Deutsche Bank and Deutsche Bank's financing with the Trump organization prior to the Mr. Trump becoming president, or what she wants to pursue with Wells Fargo, for example. She needs to make that case to her staff and to the Democrats on the committee, and then if there's a substantial reason for doing it, then she probably has certainly the right as chair to hold those hearings. And we'll have to see how that goes from the point of view of what our response is on the Republican side. But I think she has an issue with her own committee that in regard to what she's proposing. She's got to have them on board with the approach that she takes to these large global financial institutions.
Well, we will certainly be watching closely because there's a long distance between having hearings and really gumming up the works for the banks. But people forget the banks are the things that make all of this commerce possible. Congressman Hill, I hope you'll come back and give us an update when you can. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you.